Welcome to today's episode of The Bald Book Geek. Like, sub, do the usual. If you want uncensored versions of these videos, exclusive early access, and more, check out my Patreon page. And also, for exclusive content on YouTube, consider becoming a member. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, and let's start the show. Doctor Who has been a British institution for decades. Let's be honest. There is no if, buts and maybes. It is a show that has captivated British audiences for years and has had a steady trickle and a good fan base around the world. Now, this is where the problems are starting, but we'll come into that in a bit. Doctor Who as a whole has been one of the leading British science fiction shows. Usually well written, usually great fun and family entertainment on a Saturday evening that was sit-down TV, which doesn't really exist anymore, let's be honest. Now we're at a point with Doctor Who where it's become kind of a dumping ground for the BBC. There's an article on Screen Rant which I find really fascinating, which I'm going to be using as a source for this video. I'll link it down below somewhere. You'll have to look for it. The continued destruction of Doctor Who seems to keep happening. So The Timeless Child, that episode broke Doctor Who and made everything pointless. And their workaround was, this is canon. Everything is canon. So that doesn't make sense anymore. And I will say, like I said, Doctor Who is quite floopy in terms of canon and where it goes. But this is the thing. You can brush things under the rug. And I think a really intelligent thing to do with The Timeless Child was make it a plot by the Master. Make the Timeless Child a separate character, rather than the Doctor, who became a bit of a Mary Sue in recent years. Now we have bi-regeneration, which I think causes even more problems, because effectively you have two Doctors running around. So Tennant is the actual Doctor, and the new guy is a Doctor. It's stupid and redactive, and it felt like a way of just keeping this character around. Because how many versions of Tennant's Doctor are now floating around the multiverse at this point? I mean, there is a lot. There's one who is human, who is happily with Rose, and they have children, and then there's another one, and it all just seems a bit convenient. And basically, when the viewership is down, they can oh, we have this guy back. Let's bring this guy back, and that's a problem. I will give credit where credit's due, though. I think the chemistry between Tennant and Catherine Tate, Donna and the Doctor, is amazing. Like, there is a genuine chemistry there that between the two of them, it just works. Like that, I don't know what it is. They can make the worst writing engaging, and they do it. They made that episode engaging. But the bi-generation thing, it's another Timeless Child-esque retcon, basically. And, I mean, Chibnall has a lot to answer for. He had a lot of problems. He did a lot of good stuff, but he had a lot of problems, and one of them was Claire, and another one was Cybermen. I find it strange that with the bi-regeneration thing, they basically rewrote the Doctor's timeline and created, as this article said, created numerous plot holes. Numerous is an understatement. They've basically made everything pointless. They have made whole swathes of important Doctor Who lore, stuff that went down with the War Doctor and Matt's Doctor, and, they've just made it pointless. To the point of, what the hell are they thinking? Because it literally changed history in a fundamental way, and it will never truly be forgiven. And I don't regard The Timeless Child as canon. It's not. Let's be honest. Doctor Who ended with Capaldi in my brain. Although I will give credit where credit's due. I thought the doctor that came after him, she did a good job in the beginning, but she fell by the writing. I thought her first few episodes, especially that first episode, were really strong, and then what the hell? Basically, what the hell? And it's so frustrating to watch these new writers come in to just, I don't know. I think Russell T Davies should have moved away from the horrendous Timeless Child, but I think what they should have done with that is make it a plan by the master, make it something like the master is doing whatever, rather than, make the Timeless Child their own character. That would be quite interesting. But they went out of their way to show that the Doctor was, always female, and or started out female, and all this and that, and then there was another secret Doctor, and then I don't get what they were thinking. And it was honestly, like, the Timeless Child and the Bi-Regeneration cause so many problems. They rewrite the history of Doctor Who in a way that just doesn't work. It's just that realization that problems aren't going anywhere. And the problem with the writing, and the problem with, ultimately, the way the show is doing is just disastrous at this point, and I'm just watching it get slaughtered by these people. It's bad. Let's be honest. The Timeless Child was the end of Doctor Who, I think, and it just, they went out of their way to just slam things that really shouldn't be part of Doctor Who into the interim. And now, and like I said, Doctor Who canon is floopy as hell. There is no if, buts, and maybes. I remember there was this weird guy, Utaku, someone in my comments, not that long ago, well, a few years ago. It was like, Doctor Who doesn't have canon, it has continuity. Yeah, but they've destroyed the continuity. It's very easy to sweep things under the rug and put things in, choose what you want to continue and choose what you want to ignore. The Doctor isn't half human on his mother's side. My first Doctor, by the way. Things like that. It's very easy to push things under the rug, write them off as sarcasm or something iffy going on. I think the mistakes they've made in Doctor Who in recent years have been extremely questionable. Timing and audience. This is something that I find kind of sad about the whole thing. So it's getting a simultaneous worldwide release. And I'm going to, just before I go into this, I was cheering on Russell T Davies coming back. But he's proven to be a complete and utter clown. My God. Talking down to disabled people is never a good look. But, he gets a free pass for being an asshole. Let's be honest. It's being dumped on streaming as well. Which is something I really think this is just a mistake. Just purely on a marketing thing. So, it will be 7 p.m. for the US, roughly ET, I think. But that means it will be midnight for us. And then we've got to wait until the evening to watch it on TV. And I know people don't watch stuff on TV as much. But the issues I have with this decision is by the time it comes out, everyone will either have seen it already, or they've caught up with it, or it's going to be just pirated, because literally you put it out on a service, you can screen record that, and it's on, it will be on a digital platform several digital platforms I won't name. It basically dumping it onto Disney Plus and iPlayer at midnight before airing on BBC One is a huge mistake. And I think what they should have done is done BBC One first, then do it as catch up on iPlayer and Disney Plus simultaneously. Because it is a British show, that's where most of its audience will come from. And now this decision just makes me think, what are they doing? I have a really bad theory that there will come a point where Doctor Who will just be a streaming thing. Like, I believe this show needs a rest. Like, a full-blown rest, like just something to shut the door on it and say, you know what, let's take a few years out, let's do this, let's do this, let's take 5-6 years out, 10 years, take a decade out. They took a long time out between Doctors, though we only had one in the 90s. I mean, and that was a pilot. But the thing I feel is that I think they're struggling with ideas, and I think Chibnall relied too much on nostalgia. And when there's a lot of new Who stuff, they could have brought back. But then Russell T Davies tends to just care more about virtue signaling and just being a twat on the internet at the moment, which I find kind of pathetic. I mean, watching middle-aged men throw tantrums on social media is a bit of a sport right now. I see it in the Rings of Power fan base a lot, and it's like, oh, get off the internet. You're like you're 15, you're 10, 15 years older than me. You shouldn't be engaging in this stuff. Just smile. Just trash. Ultimately trash. Let's be honest here. People are trash. Oh, and the new fans. Oh, let's go there, shall we? The new fans of this show that seemed like, we don't care as long as they're hot, and that seems to be a thing. I think there is a lot of people on the internet that really only care about TV shows if it's got someone they want in it. Like, that's the only thing they care about. They've got someone or something they want, and they can get off to it. And I think that's just sad. I think if that's the only reason you're watching a TV show or engaging in it, you are a problem and really don't belong in fan spaces, because you only want to get off to it, and that's kind of sad. Like, shill accounts and stan accounts are weird anyway, but, the fall of Doctor Who is tragic in the most literal sense of the words. And Doctor Who is definitely, any long-running show is going to have mess-ups in canon, mess-ups in storytelling. It's just the nature of it. And everyone says, oh, Disney don't control. Disney passed notes to Davies. They change things for Disney. Disney have some say in this, even if it's unofficial, before everyone says it. Let's put that one out there. And if anyone wants quotes or sources for that, he said it himself in a bloody interview. Like, seriously. And I mean, it's being cheered on, and I mean, the bot army is coming in after this as well. And it's just, I think no one really cares anymore. I think this show lost its magic a long time ago. And it's been very inconsistent. When Matt Smith went, and I say this, when he went, I think Capaldi came in. I like Capaldi as an actor. He's a phenomenal actor. I want to say that. But his first few seasons were not good. They weren't. They weren't good shows. They weren't strong. And they weren't well done. And that's a problem overall with this. Then you got Capaldi's last season with Bill Potts. And despite being heavily Cybermen, I really loved that. I thought Missy was fantastic. I thought her death and effectively ending herself at the very end was amazing. And I thought that would be the end of the Master. And then they brought that guy in for Jodie. Jodie also, and I will give credit where credit's due, I've seen her in a few things. I like her as an actress in the right show. I've seen her do a few things, and she's really good. And an actor is only as good as the source material. And the problem is, when you had people behind the scenes, like her agents, telling you need to get out of this show, that's a thing. That is a thing. And I think Jodie started off okay. I thought there was potential, and that all of that got wasted. And there were a lot of episodes where it was like Power Rangers. That I found frustrating as a viewer. Like, as a viewer of it, it was like, I want to see the Doctor. I don't want to see the cohorts. And I think we need to remember that the Doctor Who formula, with the Doctor and the Assistant, always works, more or less. There's been some good ones, and there's been some bad ones, and I don't get why everyone loves Ace. I don't. But you know what? Each to their own on that one. We all have our favourites, we have our ones that we don't like. But My whole thinking with this is, and this is a rumour flying around Facebook and other forums, is that the next season of Doctor Who, which has been rebranded as Series 1 for some reason, is going to repeat the Tennant and Billy Piper thing. Or Christopher Eccles, I should say. It's going to repeat that kind of formula a little bit, and they're going down a Bad Wolf arc. I hope that's not true. I love that arc, and I remember when Doctor Who came back and watching those episodes and being completely blown away and loving them. But my thing is, as a fan of this show, for its ups and downs, its weird momentum, its Claire problem, its all of these things, is that I just want Doctor Who to be good. I want good writing. I don't care about the actors. I don't care who is playing the Doctor. I want good writing. I want good storytelling. That's it. That's all I want. And I also think sort of the romantic element of Doctor Who gets overplayed. And I think it worked well with Rose Tyler. But when it's done again, it never quite works. I mean, Yaz was annoying as hell. Like, as a character, she was absolutely diabolical. And really just disconnected me from it. Like, I don't get what they were doing. Also, the budget cuts definitely showed in the last few runs of Doctor Who. And I think the rumour is the only reason this show still exists is Disney. That's the rumour flying around. And I hope it's not true. I hope it's not... I hope it's not true. But I feel like this show... They're already casting for season 2. They've already got a new assistant for not season 2, but the next series. And I have a very bad feeling that this show is going to end up being relegated to streaming. There's also another rumour flying around that it will be a Disney Plus and an iPlayer exclusive, not before long. And I think it's going to be a huge mistake, if that's true. I don't know if that's true, but you know what I mean. I think what they're doing now is just redundant and stupid. And I just keep watching things I love get destroyed by idiots. There is no way around it. And unfortunately, modern media is so focused on box ticking that it forgets that it has to tell a story. I've been accused of being istophobe over not liking, giving negative opinions about the show, and actually, I will say this, I think the guy they've got could be really good. He's got a good energy about him. I've not seen him in much, though. But, you know, we'll see what happens. I could be wrong, and that's ultimately the thing. So, I will leave this here. It's a bit of a shorter episode today, but I will leave this one here. Tell me what you think in the comments below, because I'll be really curious, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.